Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Road to NBA 2K22 series here on the PlayStation 5, episode number 84 today. We'll continue trucking along today in Season 6 of my NBA career as the New York Knicks currently sit at third in the Eastern Conference, and we're also going to try to continue to fight the drama to keep on keeping on in this playoff race. And here in the Eastern Conference, it's starting to heat up, as you'll definitely see firsthand by the end of the episode. In terms of the drama, first it was me, Ferran, and Donovan getting suspended. Then we lost Ferran for 2 weeks recently due to a leg injury, and also in these past couple tough losses, the refs have just not been on our side, resulting in us Knicks posting a pretty pedestrian 6-4 record in our last 10 in the hyper-competitive Eastern Conference. However, we are getting Ferran back, and he is healthy to open up today's episode against a pretty familiar face, as we try to finally have a couple drama-free weeks and keep our focus on the court for once, as we're going to start in the Garden today, hosting the Golden State Warriors as we try to improve on our 9-5 home record, a standing that should be better than what it is with the support we get in the Garden. Julius Randle, someone who I got close with last season, played a huge role in our likely conference finals trip. However, Golden State threw the kitchen sink at Randle last offseason, and it was unrealistic for New York to keep up in negotiations, with the Warriors adding him on a 5-year, $138 million payday, and that would actually open up the door for Donovan to come to town. But I think it's worked out for both sides because the Warriors come into this game fourth in the Western Conference, and alongside the Splash Brothers, I think Randle has been a very key piece in their success. So hopefully we do get a couple drama-less weeks here in this episode of the Road to NBA 2K22. I think that'll do wonders for this team moving forward. You see my stats there at the bottom right of your screen. Cade Cunningham actually recently just jumped me in points per game, but I knew that coming into this season I'd have to take a back seat a little bit. I'm also number 1 in the NBA when it comes to assists. Normally I'm averaging over 10. I have these last 3 seasons, it's under 10 this year, but I think that just plays in part to my usage rate going down a little bit as we begin here on the defensive side of the floor with Steph Curry stepping up, knocking down a 3-pointer. Obviously me and Steph used to see each other a lot more when I was on the Pelicans, but now on the Knicks, we're still going toe-to-toe here as I record my second basket here in the early goings, 10-6 Warriors. Now we see Julius Randle walking the dog up the floor. He'll give it to Curry as it looks like the Splash Brothers want to link up here as they continue to work red hot. And there goes another one for Golden State. So now 13-6, trying to go the length of the floor in one pass. Normally I'm pretty good with making those reads, but not that time. Randle, kick out to Clay, who knocks down 2 in a row. So already Golden State 16-6. Not how I expected to open up this episode of the Road to NBA 2K22 as we jump to the second quarter now. All the starters out there on the floor with the exception of Donovan as Boban checks in. I'm controlling the tempo here, down by 8. I get past Wiggins, he recovers. Ferran gives it to me, bounce pass to Obi, and it's a stationary 3 from my man Obi Toppin. It seems like he always delivers on at least a couple of those per episode. He is a nice weapon to have whenever we need a bucket, especially on a secondary break as he then sets a screen for Ferran, working off the screen, and he will knock that one down on top of our former teammate Julius Randle. Ferran, welcome back to the starting 5, my man. Great to have you. 47-40 game now. I'm letting Ferran continue to work the ball up the floor as he shakes Clay a little bit there. But then here comes Andrew Wiggins, who plays upside defense, and he looks for a teammate. It'll be Julius Randle to get the lead back up to 10. Klay Thompson has been incredible this first half. Ferran got the upper hand on him for about 3 seconds, and then Andrew Wiggins provides the help. I'm gonna keep it in the hands of Ferran though. Let's see if he can get back at Clay. Yes, he does. Taken off with the 2-handed flush. Ferran with his 3rd field goal on the night. But we're still struggling, man. This defense has been getting lit up. More holes in it than Swiss cheese, but then finally Klay Thompson, he will not knock this one down. Finally a miss from Clay, working against Jordan Poole. Look at that dish inside. What a tough pass to get in there, going across the key, finding Ferran for points 7 and 8. Not often you see one like that get in there. So now we cut to Julius Randle, trying to put the moves on Obi Toppin, and he goes into the post, top step, there goes Toppin. He swats it off the glass, and Cade leads the break, gives it to me, James Wiseman, one-on-one. Let's see what I can cook up here. I want the ISO, little cross, step back. I get James Wiseman stuttering all the way inside the heart of the paint. How about points 7 and 8 coming in highlight reel style right there. Woo! James Wiseman, I lose him on the step back. I think if there's one thing that I benefited from this season with the addition of Ferran and Donovan and Cade Cunningham and not having the ball as much in my hands as New Orleans, I think it's done wonders for me finding my own shot. And I think that is Exhibit A right there as I try to get the upper hand on Wiseman for a second straight possession. This one, they whistle me for a reach and foul, so down by 8, I'm going to check out with 4:22 left to go in the first half of action. And down by 11, hard to complain with how well the bench has played all year long, but 70 points in the first half. I don't care if it's the Warriors or the Hornets or whoever it is. There's no excuse for that. Our defense has been getting lit up all day long with Klay Thompson stepping in, hitting one from 15 feet inside and out. Thompson, we've not had an answer for him as Ferran works fast, tries to step it back. It's not been the most illustrious performance for Ferran in his return to the starting lineup. Steph Curry retakes the orange. Handoff to Wiseman, who skates his way past Ferran and dunks one down for 2 more. There's his first bucket. Golden State already at 80 points. Finally a defensive play. Of course, it's from Donovan. Who else would swat him? Up ahead to me, and I get stopped by Jordan Poole once again. So I'll pull it out here with 14 seconds left to shoot. Donovan comes up, sets me a screen, pick and pop. He's in rhythm from the corner. That's a huge tray ball to fall, my 4th assist. 80-66, trying to get a couple positive plays here moving for us. It's now 82-66. It's not looking too good for the Knicks here at home. And a touch pass up to Donovan Gray. Nicely done, rolling off of the pick. Maybe we should do some more of this. Too much ISO one-on-one ball today for the Knicks. And that doesn't even begin to describe how bad we've played on the defensive side of the floor. Tough shot for Toppin. That one's off the mark. 6:18 left to go here in the third. Jordan Poole turns on the Jets, and he's looking for a teammate, but I get him when he wasn't expecting it. I take it away, trying to find Donovan once again, who continues to be the best player out on the floor for the Knicks here in the third quarter. And there goes another assist for myself. Now I'm sitting at 7 with 12 points, 4 rebounds. Cade Cunningham checks back in, wants a screen from Toppin. He's doubled at the elbow. So 10 seconds left to shoot. He resets it. Here we go with Toppin. Can we score with no Donovan out on the floor? Good look over to me in the corner. That one I get to drop. Nicely done there. Still though, down by 17. There's 15 on the night for myself as the fourth quarter is right around the corner. We might have 100 points scored on us before we even hit the fourth. Ferran, beautiful screen off the ball by my man, Boban, who continues to make those little plays every single day, and he once again comes through. So now we're tipping it off here in the fourth quarter, and immediately Andrew Wiggins flopping. Good to see him getting called for a block and the refs enforcing that a little bit. But a pretty interesting ripple here in the rotation. Tibbs takes me out for 6 minutes in the fourth. And I guess it's because I played so many minutes in the third, but that doesn't happen too often. But somehow, despite how bad we played as a team this entire game, we still have a chance to make it interesting. I come back in, we're down by 8, make it 6 with another successful pick and roll between me and Donnie G. Now, 9th assist. Most of them have gone to Donovan, man. He's been rock solid all game. So now 104-98. We get a stop on the defensive side of the floor. We see Randall up close and personal checking me. I put on the cross. This one's well contested by Randall. Rebound by Curry. And look at this. Do something real sneaky here. I take it away from Klay, or so I would have thought. Oh my goodness, how did that even happen? Things were looking so good for us. I get a piece of it sneaking behind Klay, but the deflection goes right into the hands of Steph Curry, and he puts down 3 more. And after that kind of sucked the life out of the team a little bit. So we made it interesting down the stretch, but just didn't have enough left in us. And to be fair, we did not play well enough to win this game. So a bad loss at home. And we still had a chance, man. And that was partly because of our huge second halves from the big 3. Donovan had 22 and 6 in the second half. Ferran had 12 out of his 20. He had an awesome bounce back effort in the second half. And then 19 and 12 on the game. I had 11 and 8 of that total in the final half of the ball games, proving that when us big 3 are on, there's not many teams that can beat us. We just got to play like that for a full 4 quarters next time and hopefully get some more production from Cade Cunningham. He really did not play well this game. One of the few times I'm really talking about him in a negative light this season. So we're going to head back to simulating for a little bit. That loss puts us at 4th now in the East. But Ferran, he played a full game in this one against Houston. 31, 9, and 6 and 2 steals. And I also had 16 and 11. Cade Cunningham only 7 shots that time around. Then we lose an overtime thriller with the Celtics, who don't have Jason Tatum. He actually broke his hand. So the NBA's top returning scorer, he will be out of action for the next couple weeks. So that's a bad loss. This is a team that's not at full strength. We had to take advantage. 26 and 17 for Donovan, 18 and 16 for myself. Then the bad luck gets even worse. We lose at home against Detroit. The 14 and 25 Pistons take it to us. We lost that game by 17, but then we bounced back against the Wizards, who, speaking of injuries, they don't have Bradley Beal. Beal tore his ACL, so the Wizards will be out his services for the rest of the season, and this was a prime Big 3 performance. 31 from Ferran, 24, 14, and 10 from Donnie G, and I also had a good one as well going up against my former college rival. I wanted to hop into this game. Unfortunately, I didn't have Beal, so I ended up not playing it. But Jerome Clifford, my former college rival, and he just got a big payday, and he's rewarding the Wizards with a career breakout season. 16 and 8 averaged for my college rival. I'm actually proud of him, honestly, so that's cool to see from Clifford. Then we take it to Atlanta. We finally win a home game, man. It's kind of sucks to see that we're not winning as much as we should at the Garden, but 26 and 11, my highest scoring total of the season. Trae Young held him to only 20 and a huge win, and then Donovan held John Collins to a measly 5 points. Then we extend the win streak with our biggest margin of victory on the year, with Ferran dropping a new career high 44 points up in the 6. This was an awesome sight to behold for Donovan. I had 14 and 8. Donovan and Ferran, I should say, because Donnie also had 23 and 15. Then the Pacers, this would make it 7 straight wins in a time that we really needed it to happen. We were about to lose some traction in the playoff race, but awesome performances to keep this winning streak alive, 96-97 in this thriller. And then the Celtics break our losing streak again as we drop 2 straight against the C's, once again without Jason Tatum, but we'll be playing a home and home against the Celtics, so that'll be our next game as Cade Cunningham continues to play very poorly throughout this stretch. 30 points for Jaylen Brown in this one. But in that Pacers game, you may have saw that Mitchell Drew only played around 7 minutes. That's because in the Indiana win, that 1-point thriller, Mitchell Drew will be sidelined for the next 6 to 8 weeks due to a stress fracture in a lower body extremity. So Mitchell Drew's played so well off the bench. I gave him a shot finally at the NBA level. His per 36-minute stats say it all. 17 points. And unfortunately, it just sucks to see one of our better bench guys go for the better part of the rest of the season. So I'm going to keep Mitchell Drew in my thoughts as we move forward, trying to take on the Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum, who's just coming off that broken hand. He'll be playing hurt today, but this is a huge game in terms of playoff position. You're starting to see, as we turn the focus over to the Eastern Conference standings, all these teams, all this competitive nature here in the East. Got 3 teams with only 11 losses. We're right behind them. And the Nets are starting to play better. Even the Wizards without Bradley Beal, they're being competitive. And look at all this competition here in the East. So every game's important moving forward. So we beat the Celtics earlier on in the first month of the year. Then we dropped 2 straight more recently to the C's. So we're trying to get things trending in the right path against one of our more tenacious rivals. And as you saw there pre-game, Cade Cunningham's stats have definitely taken a nosedive as he fails to close out on Jason Tatum. And luckily for Tatum, that hand injury is in his non-shooting hand, so it shouldn't affect him too much as he begins to work his way back, playing a full workload here tonight. As I almost get the steal on Kemba, I'm trying to fight my frenemy there. Bounce pass inside to Ferran Nadeem. I don't ever really know what to call Kemba. He's not really a rival. I wouldn't call him a best friend either, but anyway, I gotta give Ferran some credit in that win streak and in simulating. Look at that, 28 points per game, including a career high output. He has been on a different level, and I'm trying to get him going in the actual game itself. but for some reason, Ferran seems to always want to save his magic for in-game. And Donovan averaging 7 assists on the year with passes like that, there's no wonder why that's a thing. So how about we move forward? Another tough start for us, though. Just like in the Warriors game, we can't get any offense off the ground, and we can't stop anybody on defense. I throw the lob up to Donovan. He returning the favor for that nice pass he threw to Toppin moments ago. Cade Cunningham in the left corner. He's cold, so I give it to Toppin. Back to Cade, back to me. 2 seconds left to shoot. Stepping it back, improvising a little bit. And it's a nice step-back jumper to get me on the board as we begin things here in the second quarter, rather. It took me a whole quarter to get my name in the scoring column, but I finally do, and we finally start to play some defense. Boban stepping up, looking for Donovan. He comes charging down the lane, absorbs the bump. Great body control. Kemba is at fault for that foul. Donovan going back to the line, man. He has been a one-man wrecking crew. So here we go in the second quarter. Now down by 8. We have it under single digits as Boban. Good job contesting Jaylen Brown, who's been killing us more recently. Anytime we play the C's, coming down the lane, it's Quinton Grimes. Someone I have not said many times over this season. He's now going to be playing the minutes that Mitchell Drew would have played. So we're going to be seeing Quinton Grimes off the bench, taking Drew's role. We'll see if he can provide the same spark. Great job running the fast break. Me to Boban to Donnie G, as Donovan has played a huge role getting us back within 1. And not only is it Donovan or myself or Ferran or not one player, but the entire defense as a whole to get us back in the game. Look at that behind the scoring table here at the halftime show. Only relinquished 12 points to the C's there in the second quarter. And man, that is the type of performance we needed on defense after these last 5 quarters. The 4 against the Golden State Warriors and then the first quarter here in this one have been very forgettable defensive efforts. That's exactly what we needed. So now we jump to the fourth quarter. Only one highlight to show as I enter the fourth with 16 and 5. Kemba tries to work off the dribble. He beats me there with the ball on the deck, kicking it back out to Jaylen Brown. This has been a very exciting game all the way through. Now 87-84. Check that, make it a 1-point game. As it's me, quickly Toppin, Cade, and Boban as a 5 out on the floor, trying to lead the bench a little bit with no other starters out there except for Cade. And then here comes Jason Tatum, who then has it swatted into the floor. Boban spiked out like a volleyball player, but this pace of play is way too out of control for this lineup. So Coach Tom Tibbs calls timeout with everybody coming out on the floor except for Cade Cunningham, who continues to play not up to his typical performance, if you will. 0 for 6, 5 turnovers for Cade Cunningham. So checking in will be Eric Paschal. You just have to wonder what's been on Cade's mind these last couple weeks, why he's played so poorly in these last 3 or 4 weeks as Kemba tries to link up with Jason Tatum, but disruption is production. Great job getting in the way, Donovan, as I whip one inside to Toppin, who hits the deck but records 2 points after a delicious dime from myself. 91-90, we're still holding on to the lead by a thread here. Once again trying to cut back door. This time I work for a second screen from Ferran. Cutting me off in the corner is Kemba. Now Toppin comes over, provides some help. I find him for a lob. Twirling in air. That one will go on the highlight reel for sure. Up top to Toppin. Nicely done, extending our lead now to 3 points. Trying to keep the heat on Kemba. It's been a forgettable game for Walker. He finds Jaylen Brown. He wants the screen from Robert Williams. I step in and I take the charge. It's going the other way. Helping me up is Donnie G. He gets me up to my feet. He's proud of me. A beautiful job right there. Stepping in, taking that one on the chin as Cade Cunningham checks back in. Some quality minutes there from Paschal the Rascal. We'll see if Cade Cunningham can help us and not hurt us like he has been recently. 93-90. Cade just hasn't been himself, so we'll work him back into the offense slowly here down the stretch. This pick and roll is covered nicely. I'm trying to make something out of nothing. A kiss off the window thanks to Donovan's pick. Nice step back move. 10 points here in the second half as I'm making 2/3 of my shots here in the final 2 quarters. 95-92. We're starting to get some stops here once again down the stretch. Donovan, another screen. We're going to continue with this pick and roll offense. Nice extra pass. Toppin. He will rim it in. Let's go. That might be enough to seal this game, man. This has been an intense one all the way through. 98-94 though. Boston trying to keep it alive. If we win this game, we'll tie them in the standings, and we'll be up to third in the East. Kemba outside, handoff to Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham. He commits the ultimate no-no and fouls Jaylen Brown on the three-point attempt. Cade Cunningham, man, he has just not been himself. If you guys remember the first couple episodes of this season, I was doing nothing but praising Cade. He had played his best basketball through the first 2 months of the year, but just mentally, you can tell he's out of it. So 3 free throws go for Jaylen Brown, and then he gets the swat on for Ron, but I hustle back, and I out-hustle 3 Celtics for the loose change. So I save for Ron and the possession there. 7 seconds left, going with the ISO. Here comes myself down the lane, spinning jumper for a 3-point lead, and it's too strong. Maybe I should have stuck with the pick and roll offense. It's been working so well here in the second half, but Boston has a chance to take the lead. Jason Tatum pulls up short, and now he puts too much mustard on one. Rebound Donovan, and eventually the C's would send me to the line with a chance to put us up at least by 3. This has actually been my best season on my career from the charity stripe. The first season that I'm up above 90% if the season we're in today. So I knocked down the front end of the 2 shots here, towing the line for the second one, and it's good. So now we are at the climax of the game. 20 points for number 20, but it won't matter if we cannot lock down Boston one more time for this improbable win. The inbound goes inside to Jason Tatum, trying to set up Kemba. I fight over the screens, and his Cantor wants to set one more. I'm right there for Kemba, who pulls for 3, and it's off. And Donovan collects another huge rebound. It looks like we're gonna survive. Look at this. I played that screen a little bit too hard, and Kemba took advantage, but the rim would not let it fall. And Donovan nearly turned it over there. He was trying to get the pass over to Obi Toppin, but they decided to foul, and that pass would have went off of Obi Toppin's shoe. Nonetheless, we kind of luck out there at the end. We take this game 102-97 from Boston in their stomping ground as the Big Four walk off the floor as the job has been completed. 26 points, 4 assists, 3 steals for Ferran, over 50% from the floor. I was finally able to get some of that simulation Ferran out in a game that we sit in and play. 20 points, 7 assists, 4 steals for myself. I also shot 50%. Donovan didn't shoot all that well, but he's been so consistent. He's due for a bad night, and with 5 blocks, 6 assists, and 14 rebounds, you can't really complain. Some big minutes there for Pascal the Rascal. He had 12, while Cade Cunningham had 0. He shot 0 for 7 with 6 turnovers. I think this is the point where I gotta sit down with Cade and ask him what's been going on this entire episode, man. He's just been so hard to watch him sometimes. I mean, throughout the entire simulating, it was just 3 for 11, 2 for 8, 1 for 9, and now this has been by far his worst season on the entire second career year for Cade. So after practice the next day, we're back home in New York, and I told Cade, come with me, man. You know, we'll go out and get some food and we'll talk, man, because I want to see what's on Cade's mind. It seems like I won't fault Cade for this because these, guys go through this sometimes, but right as we were finally starting to get things underway a little bit, man, it's just more drama now. Gotta wonder what is going on through Cade's mind, but I sit him down and we're munching on some of that good old New York pizza, and I'm just asking him, forget the lights, forget the NBA, forget everything. What's going on inside your mind? Anything you gotta talk to me about? Because I'm really trying to invest in this kid, man. He's on the come up. Well, the second-year point guard, or rather small forward from Oklahoma State, tells me that he's very appreciative of me, Ferran, Donovan, but ultimately he doesn't know if he can continue to play small forward going forward, and he doesn't feel the greatest about not being in the spotlight. I remember when I was like him. I remember when I was a rookie with a chip on my shoulder, just trying to make it and prove the doubters wrong. I mean, we're talking about a top 3 pick here, Cade Cunningham, one of the most hyped prospects since LeBron himself. And at Montverde Academy, at Oklahoma State, he's always played point guard, and he's had trouble adjusting to small forward at times. And he really noticed this whenever me, Ferran, and Donovan were all suspended. And it's true, he had to play point guard back then, and from that point, and then whenever Ferran was hurt more recently, that's really when his stats were at the best. I mean, these last 6 or 7 games, he's just been horrible, and that's just something to keep in mind going forward. That Cade Cunningham might not even want to stick around here. He might want to find his own ambition and find his own team. So with that in the back of my mind, we move forward to face off against the best team in the NBA currently and my hometown friend Deshaun to wrap out this episode. So as you saw at the beginning of this episode, the Eastern Conference has been a bloodbath so far. Well, not so competitive in the West. Dallas 32-8, running away with it as we're about at the halfway mark here in Season 6, and Mitchell Robinson wins the tip for the Mavs, the defending champs. Mitchell Robinson joined Dallas after we didn't re-sign him as Deshaun cuts back door. So not only is Deshaun coming to town, but Mitchell Robinson also works his way back into the Garden. Deshaun, it's been an interesting year for him. He's taken a bit of a step back in production, but his usage rate's also a lot further down than what it normally is too. 14 points, 7 rebounds, and sky-high efficiency all the way through across the board for my hometown buddy. So Dallas gets on the board there, as then Deshaun collects a rebound. He's got good vision from the wing position, and he gives it to Tim Hardaway Jr., who tries to hit him on the backdoor cut, but Toppin gets a piece of it. Outside to me. Nice bounce pass inside to Cade, threading the needle. I know Cade has a bit himself. He just hasn't had the same body language to begin the year, but that doesn't mean I still can't get him involved. Gotta keep Cade's morale high, man. Some of those young guys can be very, tumultuous, and they can have some good days, they can have some bad ones, but one thing I know I had to learn my first couple seasons in the league is you gotta take the highs with the lows. Can't get too high when you win, can't get too low when you lose. So we'll reset this thing over to Ferran, who curls off a screen. Good job finding me in the corner. Buckets from 3. There goes another one. This one's my first 3 of the ball game with my first basket. So now jumping ahead a little bit, we're hanging with the defending champs. 15-12 Ferran, going for the tie. This one's long. As Deshaun collects yet another rebound. He's had a great first quarter, but I take it away from him. Looking for a man to give it to, and then Deshaun comes over. He's fighting me for the rock. Looks like, the competitive fire has not lost at all between me and him. As now we've got to fight for a jump ball. I mean, come on, he's got a 40-inch vertical. What am I supposed to do about that? So, on a pretty funny note, we're going to enter the second quarter now. Up by 1. As I check back in, good closeout on KP. That one's a brick. Cade Cunningham collects, good court vision. Finding me, opening up the break, drop down pass. Great assist inside to Toppin. He has been awesome when he runs the floor. That combined with his awesome spot up shooting recently, Toppin has been very productive here in my 6th NBA campaign. So 34-32 now. Ferran checks back in. I'm finding Cade. This one's run through him. Buckets for Cade. Yes, there goes 5 assists. And there goes 7 points for Cade Cunningham. 3 for 4 shooting to begin this one. 35-34 now. We still are keeping pace and then some with defending champs. Hardaway on me now. I put him in jail. Keep him on my back hip. Drop down pass inside. Boban puts one in over Mitchell Robinson, my former teammate. Very nicely done there. I'm just saying, man, we can compete and take a game from anybody in the NBA. That's my opinion. As Tyrese Maxey, yes, he's on the Mavs in this series. No avail there in the corner. I'm looking up. Let's see what I got. Behind the back move, getting a little fancy with it here against Maxey. Bounce pass to Top, and he gets another one. The stationary threes, man. Topping with that quick trigger finger. Not much defense can do when he releases it so high at almost 7 feet tall. Timeout, Dallas. Looking great right now with the New York Knicks up by 5. I just want to take this thing into the halftime period. And no Mitchell Drew once again. I think it's hurting the bench a little bit. They haven't been as good recently as they were in the first, couple weeks this season. 45-44, defending champs up as we begin the second half of action. Luka Doncic hasn't made much of an impact so far. This one's off the back iron and out. Cunningham grabs the miss, gives it up to me. He's sharing the ball a lot better today for sure. He's finding other teammates. Here's a bounce pass to Jahlil Okafor. As I'm starting to notice, there's no Donovan out on the floor to begin the second half. This one is a dump down inside to Obi Toppin. Jahlil Okafor, my ex-roommate, gives me a screen, and then look at this read. Nicely done inside. A lot of assists to this point. That's already 8 for me. Okafor, it's good to see him out on the floor, of course, but it's weird to see no Donovan, so wonder what that's all about. So now 7 points and 8 assists as I'm going off a screen here. Then I'm trying to set one for Ferran. Little step to his left. He was going to pull, and that one looked good right out of the hand. Ferran, master of those contested threes, puts one in, and we retake the lead. 51-49 as checking out for the rest of the third is myself, coming back in the fourth. And we finally have an update on Donovan. Tom Tibbs comes into the huddle out of the third quarter intermission, and he's got some bad news for us. Donovan took a shot while I wasn't on the floor to the face, and he's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks with a broken nose. Can we just catch a break as a team? I mean, come on. We had the suspensions. We had Ferran's injury. We got Cade not being himself, wanting out potentially. And now we have to deal with Donovan, man. Taking a dirty punch from one of these Dallas players when he went up for a shot. Here we go with Ferran. He rushes it a little bit. It hasn't been a great day for him. And honestly, after Donovan, the news of Donovan came to light thanks to Tom Tibbs, we just looked like a completely different team here in the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened, but once these Knick players learned the news, we were just a completely different bunch out there. Deshaun, the newest NBA champion out of the friend group, knocks down a triple. He's had an amazing game, offense and defense. Deshaun might be the best player out on the floor today. And I'm just trying to get something going here. It's been a very quiet second half for me. And this possession, working it back and forth between me and Cade, a little hot potato game here. And even when we score here in the fourth quarter, it's not a very easy look. So there's 11 for me on the game, and that's about where I'm going to cut it here, man. This was a pretty tough game to lose. When we were at full strength, we were hanging with Dallas. We had them on the ropes, the defending champs, the best team in the NBA. But we fall short thanks to an awful fourth quarter offensive performance. And it was all fueled, man, by Donovan checking out, because we just lost our fire without one of our better players. And you could tell, man, second half, some of these box scores are not good, especially mine. 2 for 7, only 2 assists after I had, I believe, 8 in the first half. Or no, I had 7 in the first half, 2 in the second half in terms of assists. Donovan, 11 points in only 17 minutes due to that face injury. And Ferran, 2 for 13. He's been electric, especially in simulating, so he's due for a bad night. And then look at Deshaun, man. 21-7, 4, 3, and 4. I talked about his lower usage rate. Not tonight. He had it all on show for us. And of course, he steps up right whenever he comes to town for us. So we're going to move on and end this episode. Definitely a tough note to end off of with a lot of uncertainty moving forward. There it is, Donovan. Broken nose, out for 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see if he plays through it. Donovan's played through a couple of injuries in his career. I remember one year we played them in the playoffs. I believe that was my second NBA year, where he was dealing with a wrist injury, but he still played well. He's done it before, but we'll see if he does it again. And, you know, we should be happy right now. We're hanging tough with the Heat, the Bulls, the Celtics, some of the best teams that the game has to offer. I should be on a high note right now, man. We're right there in the thick of it in the East, playing a lot better. Our offense is probably the best it's been all season long, with the exception of Cade, but I'm not. I feel a little bit weird, man. I don't know how to feel. With Cade Cunningham potentially wanting out and Donovan, he's going to be sidelined potentially for 2 to 4 weeks. A lot of uncertainty moving forward and what should be one of the better teams in the NBA. So I don't know how to feel about this team in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to have one more episode and an All-Star weekend, and we're going to find out a lot about this team. With no Donovan, Cade Cunningham checking out mentally, and, you know, Ferran seemingly wanting to do well in simulating. He's been on fire whenever we sim, but in the game, I just can't get him going most of the time. We have a lot of questions to answer moving forward, and I talked about the drama at the beginning of the episode. It seems like it does not want to leave, so I appreciate you guys stopping by for this Road NBA 2K22 episode. A lot of questions to answer in the next episode. Are we legit? Can we handle the punches? Are the Knicks the team to beat in the East? Can we hang tough with all these other great teams in the East? We're going to find that out and a lot more coming forward. So stay tuned for that and more on College Sports Revived. I'm signing out. Peace, guys.